Warning. This podcast is about the horror genre, specifically horror films. As most horror movies are filled with coarse language, violence, and/or gore, the topics and language of the cast of the pod will also reflect the genre. If you have any issues with the aforementioned warnings, please press stop. But if you have no issue with adult language, movie violence, or the accoutrement that accompanies horror films, please feel free to continue. You have been warned.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cast of the Pod horror movie, horror flick podcast. This is where we like to get a different host every week online, over the phone, over the cast, over the pod with us. And today, this week, first of all, Deb.
Hello.
Are you? You're here?
Yes.
Okay, Deb is here. Deb, say your name.
I'm Deb. Hello.
Okay. And joining Deb and I today is our friend, near and dear friend of ours. What are you calling yourself now?
KB, that's good.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. KB is on the cast of the pod with us today, and we're doing something different. I did not forewarn her of this.
I messaged her and said, "Hey, when are you going to be on our podcast?"
And then
That's pretty much it.
And she's like, I've got 1 hour and 13 minutes of free time right now, so let's do this.
Exactly.
Now, so I didn't warn her of this, and normally what happens is when somebody decides, they message us and they tell us, hey, let's do this movie or whatever. I'm like, okay, give me a couple of days, and then I'll watch the movie, and then we'll talk about it. Now, I have never seen The Witch, so today we're going to do something different. KB and Deb will be telling me what they like about it and describing the movie to me, because I have no idea what's going on. All I know is there's a goat and some English type sounding people around that time. But there are a whole bunch of blonde people with dirty hair. That's all I know.
Yeah, a lot of dirty blonde people.
A lot of dirty blondes. And before we get into that, let me go, we have to always fall back onto IMDb. And let's read the tagline. A family in 1630 New England is torn apart by the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. Directed by Robert Eggers, written by Robert Eggers, stars Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Inson, Kate Dickey, and a whole bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't recognize any of these people.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which is usually a good thing, because then they're working that much harder.
That is very true.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing. Storyline. New England, 1630. Kate and William try to lead their devout Christian life, homesteading on the edge of an impassable wilderness with 5 children. When their newborn son mysteriously vanishes and the crops fail, the family begin to turn on each other. The Witch is a chilling portrait of a family unraveling with their own sins, leaving them prey for an inconceivable evil. Oh.
Yeah.
And the plot keywords are witch, goat, black magic, death, and rabbit.
Run, rabbit.
See, Deborah's thinking, run, rabbit, run. And I'm thinking, what is it? The rabbit? Look at the bones. All right, ladies, y'all get to it. Deb, KB, tell me about The Witch. And do you think I would like the movie? It's got a 7.7 out of 10. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Get Out. That has that. This
wow.
This one has 7 out of 10 also.
There was an ad for it right here along with The Witch. This has a 6.9 out of 10 rating.
This one over here.
I actually was going to talk about that movie, Get Out, but I was like, that sounds a little bit too cliche. We'll just do something else.
We both watched that one.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so let's get into The Witch. Wait a minute. Something like that.
So I watched this a couple years ago, but it came out in 2015?
2015, yes.
I watched this a while back, and I've only seen it once. I know I liked it. I was trying to watch it again before we called you. So I watched like the first 30 minutes of it, and I kind of like remember. I know I liked it, but I don't remember the whole movie.
Ooh, so that puts KB in a bind. Get it?
That's it.
Witches
But-
and bind.
But I know once we start
He's a
talking
funny
about
guy.
it might like bring up memories of it or something.
Well, do you remember if you liked the movie, Deborah? Like
Yeah,
you said,
I said I liked the movie. I know I liked it. I know I watched it by myself here at the house. I think we redboxed it. And you were, I don't know, playing video games or something.
I know I read a quip somewhere saying that everything in the movie didn't happen. It was just the fact that they ate like rancid yogurt and they started hallucinating. Does that make sense to y'all? Is there yogurt in the movie?
No.
I was like, what? Oh, okay. Let me rewind because I don't remember that.
No, there's no yogurt.
Oh, okay. Well, KB, why did you pick this movie?
I picked the movie because, well, to be completely honest, you've already talked about other movies and that I had brought up. I was like, oh, well, that just sounds like the basic of me. But anyway, I actually like this movie a lot because it's not exactly a horror movie in, you know, the classic sense of horror movies. It is very, very unsettling, though, to watch. And I like movies that have based on a lot of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sort of based on like a story of a family, the actual family, back in the 1630s. You know, and all these different events supposedly happened to them, or maybe even a number of other people. We don't know.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the different events that happen are very random, unexplainable. Well, they can be explained, but still, it's like, why? there's a lot of questions that go unanswered in the movie, but it's definitely something to watch.
Okay, so I mean, this is definitely, since we're talking about this on a podcast, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, and then whenever you can get some free time, maybe we can talk about it again and see what I thought about it.
For sure.
So I was wrong. It was not yogurt. Well, y'all were right, and I was wrong. It was ergot, which is a fungus that grows on corn, and you can see that some of the corn is fungied up in the movie, and that's a hallucinogenic fungus.
Yeah,
that in real life brought upon like the Salem witch trials and stuff like that. People were getting off fungi.
Yes, this was also during that time frame as well, but thankfully they didn't necessarily have to go through those type of trials. They just kind of got banished from their settlement, and they decided to kind of start their own. There's a lot of children. There's a lot of kids in this movie, at least in my opinion. You know how I feel about kids.
Yeah.
Terrible things. There's 4 kids. There's oldest named Thomason.
Okay.
And then Caleb. And then they have their twins, Mercy and Jonas. Thomason is a girl. And Mercy and Jonas are a boy and a girl. And Mercy and Jonas are the worst children. They're just terrible children. I mean, they're kids. They're going to run around and act crazy and everything, but they listen to no one except the damn goat that they brought with them. Or wherever they got them from. I don't know. There's no explanation of where they got these animals. Not sure if they brought them with. Yeah, they're just kind of there. They never explain, like, did they come with the animals? Did they hunt these animals, you know, for food or, you know, nourishment? They have no idea. But there is a lot of animals for this family. Yeah. Oh, and they have another, and they have, chickens, and they have another baby, Samuel.
Yes,
so on top of the 4, they just had the little baby. Samuel's
the peekaboo baby.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Samuel did not have a good time. I know about that.
No. Because I want to talk about this movie, but it's so difficult to like really talk about it because you haven't seen it. and I don't want to give too much away about it.
Well, I know how it ends and all that. I got onto Wikipedia. I read into all that stuff.
Oh my goodness. You just spoiled it for everything.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
But Josh, I really think you will like it because it has the same kind of feel like Midsummer and Hereditary. It has the same kind of feel.
What?
Like,
and I haven't seen either one of those things, so that must be saying something pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
Those two movies are really good.
Before you see Midsummer, so you need to see Hereditary. Hereditary is very slow burning and kind of cheesy at the end, but the death scenes, the first death and the reaction to the first death is painful and it hurts to watch and it's so emotionally dragging. Let's get back to The Witch.
Yeah. So the first death in The Witch, I'm not saying who, but the first death in there again is very unsettling because they don't even really show the death, but there's like, flashes of light in between like what the people are doing that contributes to the death of the first, person.
Well, we already said spoiler alert, so you can say Samuel, the little baby. They killed the baby.
I mean, we don't know that. They could have just, cut off a finger.
The baby.
There's a lot of questions in this movie, so we don't know if Samuel's alive or not. So yeah, Samuel unfortunately gets kidnapped. They kind of blame Thomason for damn near everything, yes. Honestly. And I don't know why. She's honestly just trying to, be a teenage girl and live her life and do right by her family and her parents, but they just keep blaming her for everything.
It's your fault.
Exactly. It's her fault that the baby got kidnapped, even though all she was doing was playing peekaboo with the baby. She didn't leave the baby anywhere. She didn't put it down and be right back. She was literally just playing peekaboo. She looked up and the baby was gone.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody's seen that part because I think that's in the trailer.
Yeah,
and that's
that was in the trailer.
The part that's like, they took the baby.
The baby.
Yeah, they literally just took the baby, and they blame Thomason for that. They blame Thomason for the crops. They blame Thomason for the weather. They blame Thomason for some stuff that goes missing later.
But what of the baby? If you haven't seen Schitt's Creek, then
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, okay.
I live under a rock and a hard place and under the Eiffel Tower. So.
Oh.
So nothing.
I did read something very interesting. Let me get back over here. And I think I lost it. Damn it. Oh, did you know that the Satanic Temple has endorsed the movie?
Oh, really?
And has hosted several screenings of the film. Their spokesperson addressed the film as an impressive presentation of satanic insight that will inform contemporary discussion with religious experience.
That makes total sense. I do see that. Because it's not completely they're not completely making everything to be totally insane, adaptation of that religion, those people, the practices of, the witches and everything. Because they're all real people, you know what I mean? They're all, none of them, they don't seem like what they're doing, it's the witches at least, it doesn't seem like what they're doing to them is crazy. It's just something that they're doing to survive or to continue their traditions or whatever, just like the settlers are doing. Nothing seems out of the ordinary for them. Like kidnapping babies, that's going to the grocery store. That's buying your quinoa at Trader Joe's. It's whatever.
Hell, we won't get into the modern numbers of 8 million children going missing around the world yearly. Now we won't get into that.
Those are real horror things.
Yeah. But there was, when I was reading Wikipedia, and they said that there's a scene when the two kids can't say the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
That they can't remember it. And I was thinking, oh, they're going to fry for that one. And then I'm reading here on IMDb, during the actual witch hunts of colonial America, it was believed that a witch could not say the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
And that's why in the movie, the family got all pissed off at Mercy and Jonas for not being able to say it.
Yeah. I think them in the movie forgetting the Lord's Prayer was honestly just something that they were making up. And then when it got to the scene where, they kind of passed out. They just kind of honestly, you know what scene I'm talking about, right, Deb? With where they're all in a room and they're all trying to pray, but the kids can't remember the Lord's Prayer, and they just kind of stop. Just stop. There's nothing. They don't say anything. They just kind of lay there or whatever's going on. I have no idea. That whole scene was also very trippy. With the whole family in one room.
There was a lot of the scenes that I can remember that I was like.
So, what is the most scarring or memorable part of the movie to you, KB?
Most memorable part of the witch movie for me was almost all of the scenes with Caleb in it.
He's like a preteen boy, right?
Yes,
like a tweener.
Yeah, he's probably, because Thomason is probably like 16 or 17, maybe, and Caleb is probably around 10 or 11.
Okay,
maybe 12. And he's a boy, and he's got feelings and he's got thoughts and things, and he's trying to be the man of the house because he is the oldest boy. So he's got all of these different things that he's got to do. I feel like he's got more responsibilities than Thomas, and to be honest with you.
Because that's how the world was at that time, yeah.
Yes, and he feels like he's got certain duties that he needs to fulfill, and he's trying to do some of those duties, and while out doing them, he winds up being sidetracked by this beautiful creature in the middle of the woods, and goes missing.
I mean, who hasn't, been walking in the woods and then some hot naked chick, just happens to be there. And...
Who hasn't went on a PCP bench and shot at a couple cops? I mean, come on. Come on. But yeah, and that basically the entire, for me at least, that's the most memorable thing, is any scene with Caleb in it, because it's so intense. When he's missing, when he returns, the stuff he says when he returns.
I'm reading here that, especially in that Caleb scene, that whenever there's an actual scene that has some type of magic going on, that they sped up the frame rate. So the whole movie is recorded in 24 frames per second, but whenever there's any type of magic, they moved it up to 27 frames per second, which is slightly faster. It's not the 30 frames we're used to for online video, but it's 3 frames faster. And it kind of, for some people, like upsets their stomach a little bit with that switch without any kind of warning or anything like that. So I mean, that's pretty cool when you think about they put that in the movie to mess with your mind.
That is very cool. The one scene that they didn't do it in was with Caleb, and he's getting a little sick, and he starts throwing something up or like hawking it up. It's just the creepiest thing in the world.
Are you talking about the bloody apple?
Yeah, it's the creepy. I know you haven't seen it, but I keep talking like I don't want to give nothing away. But okay, so you've read everything. So
yes.
Let me just get all up in there then. So yeah, when he's throwing up the bloody apple, I think that's very, very unsettling. Like, just basically the unraveling of this entire family is just unsettling to watch, honestly.
Wow.
I love every second of it.
I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this movie. Deb was watching it, and I was trying to read it, and I had to put my headphones on and block out my ears because Ralph, the father, Ralph Ensign, was talking, and his voice was just overpowering, where I couldn't concentrate on what I was reading because his voice was so strong. Deb, let me ask you, what was the scene or the part of the movie that still sticks in your head? I know the scene that you've told me about over and over again, even before we decided we were going to do this one, about the peekaboo scene.
Yeah. That's the part that I remember the most. And then, like, when they're talking about him and then they show the witch, and they show her and she has the baby, and she's all like, she has him laying there, and she's like, I don't know. And then they show, like, her with the knife, and then it goes to black.
Oh, yeah.
So the death scene, but
yeah, but they don't like really show. They don't show her do it like how KB was saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they leave it up to your imagination, and that's something we've talked about on the podcast before. You know, nothing's going to beat your imagination. Your brain's always sicker than what they can show you or what somebody else can show you. For most people, I think.
Yeah. And I think the other scene that sticks out in my mind is the goat whose name is Black Phillip.
Yep.
Sorry.
I was like,
yeah.
hello.
I was like,
Sorry. Yeah, the goat whose name is Black Phillip is actually the devil, and he starts talking to Thomason.
That's right. I remember that now.
That is also a really good scene, and he's basically asking her, "Hey, you like blackjack? You like hookers? You like jewelry? Let's go on the town. I'll get you a pretty dress. You like butter?"
I remember that now. Yes.
wait, he says that?
No, he doesn't say that. And nobody talks to. Yeah, I remember that part.
I was like, what
No,
the
he
hell?
does. He does basically all of the things that that were forbidden, from the Puritan era and all that stuff. Like colored clothes or butter, or all of the fancy things that they could not afford, or were too sinful. He asked her if she wanted to try any of those things, and she says yes, of course. And, he says, "Well, all you have to do is write your name down in this book."
The book.
And she says,
oh.
"Yeah." And she said, I don't know how to read. He said, "I'll teach you." And after that, she goes off to Vegas, has blackjack hookers in the time of her life.
It's crazy when you think about it. When
Going to Vegas?
No,
Yeah.
it's crazy when
She
you
flew to Vegas.
when you think about the things that can be used to tempt people. You want some butter?
I mean, it's rich, it's decadent, It's sinful. Butter can be very sinful.
I can't believe it's not butter.
So,
Don't even get me started on when it tasted like strawberries for a while.
What?
You know what that?
no?
Yeah, it tasted like strawberries. I forgot what brand did it, but there was butter that tasted like strawberries.
Blech.
Dangerous.
Yeah, that is dangerous.
Better than purple ketchup.
Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah,
that.
that's what I thought. Mm-hmm.
But not the strawberry butter.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Strawberry butter.
No.
Yeah.
So
Delicious.
I was looking at the cast. Thomason, Josh, you know how you said nobody looked familiar? She came out on Glass and
Split.
Yeah.
Right.
Is
She was in Glass and Split. Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was Casey.
Yeah.
I can see it right now.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Glass. I've seen Split.
Glass was, oh my gosh.
I thought we saw that one.
No, you saw it. It was in the. See, what happens is we get these movies, and Deborah's like, "Well, can you watch it right now?" And I'm editing or I'm doing something for the podcast, and I'm like, "Well, can you wait like 30 minutes?" And then she starts watching the movie, and then I'm like, "Well, I don't want to see it now." Oh, that's another reason why her face looks familiar.
Why?
What's that?
She's gonna be Ilana Rasputin, which is Colossus's sister in the New Mutants. She's the blonde with all the demon powers. Ironically enough, she has demon powers, and she can go into hell and control demons. And she has like demon armor and all that.
What's the name of it? You think it's Marvel?
Yeah, it was a Fox movie, but Marvel
What's
has
a Marvel?
Marvel, like Marvel Comics.
What? What's a Marvel comic?
What are you talking about, Kenny? You're throwing us off.
Yeah.
I know. I'm giving you all the horror cliches. Right in this podcast, I'm going to give you every single horror thing that you can think of.
Just like how you wanted it. And when I told her what movie we're gonna talk about, she was like, Frozen. I was like, what? I was like, you mean I want to build a snowman?
Do you want to
you want to build a snowman? That Frozen?
Yeah, and then I said, well, The Little Mermaid. She goes, The Little Mermaid's not scary. I said, a teenager runs away from home, gets her voice box ripped out by an evil witch, and then gets her fin split to grow legs. That is painful and scary.
And commits suicide.
And they sing songs about it.
At the end of the book, she commits suicide so he could be happy.
The real story of Little Mermaid is scary as hell.
Yep.
Just so who can be happy?
The prince.
What?
Yeah.
I need to read the story.
She throws herself into the water knowing that if she does that, she'll become sea foam, just the foam on the top of the water. And she does it anyways and dies.
Every time she would walk on her legs, it was like glass. Like she's walking on knives and glass the entire time.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
Don't let your hormones go crazy, kids. Keep it in your pants.
Keep it in your... Ah, damn it. But all right, so
don't tell no lies. Keep your hands to yourself.
So do y'all have anything you want to throw into the movie? How was the music? Do y'all remember?
There is no music. There's no music at all.
Is there like any ambiance? Just like...
There's a little bit. There might be a little bit, but it's not too much. Everything is literally just natural sounds of the wind and the trees and the grass and the birds and all of that.
Let me tell you about the birds and the leaves and the flowers.
Especially toward the end of the film. Especially like during the scene where the mother sees her son again in the hallucination.
Spoiler alert.
Look, you went down this spoiler train, okay? Well, she sees her son again in a hallucination. When they pull back and show that it's not her son, there's no music there. Actually, there might be a little music. I think I don't really remember, but I know that whole scene was a little horrifying to look at because it turns out it's a crow like biting her nipple off.
Oh, I heard about that. There's an actual thing called a witch's teat, where it's like a third nipple or like a strange mole growing out of the witch's body where they can actually feed their familiars, or in that case, like a crow.
Is that what that bump in my head is about?
Exactly. No, for real. Whenever they say as cold as a witch's teat, they're not talking about the actual breast and nipple of a witch. They're talking about the third extra nipple to feed their familiar or the little demon with them and all that. Yeah. Crazy.
Wow. I'll keep that in mind next time I want to feed something out of the top of my head.
What?
I have a bump there. I don't know if it's a nipple, but it's something in there.
And now you know.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, overall, it is a really good movie. I'm looking at some information about The Witch as well. Just like the aforementioned movie Get Out, it only had about a $4 million budget and made, 4 times that back in the box office.
So why didn't they do The Witch 2? And it's actually not witch, it's VVitch.
Yeah,
because there weren't W's in 1630.
Yeah, of course.
Stupid English.
English is very stupid, and that's for a whole nother podcast.
Complicated and shit.
A whole nother podcast. But yeah, I was surprised at how successful it was because it doesn't have the jump. Well, there's only one jump scare to me. That's toward the end with the father and the wood pile and stuff. Scared the crap out of me because I had no idea that was coming. But I was surprised that it did so well because it is kind of a slow movie, not when you I don't know. I like movies that kind of make me think and pay really close attention to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're watching this movie at home, please put on captions. I understand some people can't read or don't want to read while they're, watching this film, but there are certain scenes where stuff just seems really loud, and some scenes where it's not. And they have such very heavy accents in the film.
You can't understand them.
I had to watch it the third time. I actually understood what in the hell they were actually saying. Because if you're watching it for the first time, you're going to get the gist of what they're saying, but you're not really going to understand
what they're saying at all, right?
Yeah. It's like, I need a spell to change my fit. Send my mind to a bear, or whatever the hell they're
The funny thing is, I understood exactly what you said. It's the language of half my people.
Yeah, it's like some type of weird English-Irish mix going on in there. I couldn't tell you what it is.
Again, like he said.
Wow.
Receive a silver cup.
You can't say that.
That's what I'm talking about. This is my silver cup, and you know where it is. They just steal it, Thomason.
You speak to your mother with that mouth?
It was her mother talking to her with that mouth. Yeah, it's definitely a film to watch. If you're into like a lot of jump scares and stuff, this movie is not for you. It is a slow-paced kind of movie, but when it gets there, it stays there, and it keeps you intrigued, definitely.
Well, that sounds like what Deborah was saying.
Yeah.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Hereditary or Midsommar, which is character development, and you think you know what's going on, and then you find out you're completely wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
Honestly, it was for me. I was watching The Witch, and I saw them blaming Thomason for everything, and I'm like, she's actually not a witch. She's not even doing anything. Like, you see where she goes. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing going on here. There's nothing crazy going on.
And then
it's one of those things where you constantly tell somebody that's stupid, or they're not smart, or they're fat or something, or or you can't have that gun, or you'll shoot your eye out. That kind of thing happened.
It's basically one of those things. From what I read, again, you keep on blaming something for something, and they become exactly what you're.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, she was a witch. She turned into a witch at the end. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault, but she became what her parents were scared of and were accusing her of.
Exactly, and I like all the blood in it. It's so nicely placed.
Now,
it's all very real.
Is it bright red blood? Is it dark maroon blood?
It's dark blood.
Okay.
Real human blood. Looks like it anyway.
Does it get brown? Like, do they ever? Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially after the bloody apple scene.
Oh.
I mean, it's like you can always tell the difference. I'm a weirdo and I watch certain things that I probably shouldn't. But you can tell when it's like fresh blood out of a wound. And when it's been sitting for a while. So there's a lot of scenes where there is blood, and it looks like, especially when she when her and her mom get into a fight, right?
All right, yeah.
Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
And she smacks her in the head, and all this blood starts coming out of her face. Perfect.
I might have to watch the movie tonight.
That's what I was going to say. You need to watch it tonight.
Definitely.
Wow. So
I also like Parasite, but we're not going to talk about that.
Dude, Parasite is an awesome movie.
Right? Oh my God! I should have said we should have talked about that one, because that's a really cool
I love Parasite.
Me too.
That movie is amazing, and I hate that.
I actually went and saw that on a blind date with a blind man. Not kidding.
So were you reading all the captions?
No, I did not.
Does he speak Japanese?
No.
Korean. I'm sorry, Korean, not Japanese.
No, we had no idea it was a caption film. We did not know it was a foreign film.
The guys over at Felipe's Garage podcast, they call it a read watch. I always thought they were saying like rewatch, like rewind, but it's read watch. I'm not read-watching a movie. Yeah.
I read-watch everything.
Yeah, Deb and I read-watch everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our TV is always on caption.
I should have brought that up. I didn't know that if you guys would talk about that one or not.
I love the movie Parasite.
It's the blood in there would remind me of The Witch. That's why I was kind of bringing it up, because there was a scene in there, where he gets hit over the head.
Yes.
And all this blood. That's just such a great scene.
Okay, let's not talk about Parasite because I'll start going into the story. But
so good.
But I mean, I like this as an idea that we're going to do on the podcast from now on. Every now and then, Deborah, we have to have a movie that either you haven't seen or I haven't seen, or even our guest hasn't seen, and we talk about it. We tell them, and then by the end of the movie, it's like, are they going to watch it or are they not going to watch it? And spoiler alert, I already said I'm going to watch it. So
there's plenty of films that I haven't seen that you guys have seen. So
yes,
I'm definitely down for that as well.
Santa Sangre.
Never heard of it.
A lot of people haven't seen that movie.
You just need to see that movie.
All right.
There's a scene where special kids get given cocaine before they go into a brothel, and then they start dancing a conga line with a pimp right as the tattooed woman gets murdered by an armless woman. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just within like 5 minutes of the movie.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Do you have anything else you want to add for today's episode?
Listen to Opinion Holes, located on all your listening platforms, but not Spotify.
But not what?
Spotify.
You can listen to it on Anchor or YouTube.
Oh, for Opinion Holes, yes. But why not Spotify?
So I don't have it on Spotify yet.
Well, who are you hosting through?
I don't. Right now it's just Anchor and YouTube. I don't have anything else.
Oh, there should be like a one button click and put you on Spotify. Not that we're talking about podcasts here on the podcast. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors real quick. Deadlights Tattoo, 5418 Glen Ridge Drive in San Antonio, Texas. If you've seen any of my tattoos, mainly my legs, that's where I got all my tattoos from, including a Sam Hain tattoo on my left leg, which is actually photorealistic of a picture of Deborah wearing a Sam costume. And then Pika Pika Plaza has One Up Entertainment. Our friend Steven, his shop there, One Up Entertainment, they have movies, hard copies of movies, so you can actually hold the movie in your hand, DVDs and Blu-rays, and video games and action figures, monitos and stuff, tons of movie-related stuff. They have a horror section and pops and CDs. Yeah, those CD things, remember those? And
I know those. They're called compact discs.
Exactly. That's One Up Entertainment over at Pika Pika Plaza in San Antonio, Texas, over on the south side. It's the law. If you're going to say that, you had to say it that way.
Yeah.
But don't forget to listen to KB's podcast, Opinion Holes. And anything else, Deb?
No.
You forgot our social media.
Oh.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Cast of the Pod, CAST of the POD. All right, so until next time, I'm Josh.
And I'm Deb.
And I'm KB.
And we still haven't figured out the tagline, so we're sticking with Stay Scary.
Bye.